I just go in here and I give my perspective, my 2 cents. I try to be honest, try not to BS anyone on here. Just a regular guy, Guys, it's been a while since got in front of the camera. But here we are. We're talking about ring chasing, and for the most part, NBA ring chasing. And why I do not have an issue with players that are, I guess you can say, ring chasing and things like that. I don't have an issue with that at all. Because for the most part, guys, it's the fans' fault and it's the media's fault for, I guess, this players going out trying to win, I guess. On stacked teams, no more competition, things like that. It's the fans and the media's fault. And I tell you to you this way. This is not scripted. This is just me going off the top of my head. Way back in time, early days of the league, Lakers and Celtics days, Bill Russell days. Not too many teams in the league. Both teams had great players, good players, and they traded championships for a couple of decades, or at least 15 years, or something like that. They traded championships, and what happened was good players and great players from early on and just going throughout time, they were elevated above other legends and good players because they had the jewelry, they had the rings. 80s, 90s, even today. And, I have one person that tells me that Chris Paul was never better than Tony Parker because Tony Parker has rings. I mean, things like that. Like, Like, that's what I said. It's the fans and the media's fault. At some point in time, I don't know if in recent years the Celtics team from what 08 or whatever that year was when those guys came together really started this turn of players no longer seeming to care about going to get the biggest dollar, Carmelo Anthony, and really trying to see where they can win, where they can be most productive on court wise. And I think it was that Celtics team when they came together, because that just changed everything. LeBron James, then you had the LeBron James move, and now you have Kevin Durant, and those things are all, they're pretty much this. Now, I don't want to say the same thing, but it's LeBron James had to make a move because of the Celtics, and Kevin Durant made his move, I'm thinking, because of LeBron James and what LeBron James is doing with his legacy. And players no longer wanted to be that legend or that good player without a ring. No one wanted to be a Reggie Miller, a Charles Barkley, a Pat Ewing, a Stockton, a Malone, an Iverson, or a McGrady. All these great players. Players no longer wanted to be that legend or that good player and be looked at when their career is done without a ring. And that's why I don't have an issue with it, because I understand what they're going for. I understand what they're trying to achieve. You have old school players talking about they would have done it this way, they would have never done it that way, and and the way I look at it is because they didn't have history to be their teacher. They were history. The example of Charles Barkley and all these great players I said that did not have a ring were examples for Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, all these players. They were the examples. Now, maybe if the roles reverse and LeBron James was in Barkley, maybe things would be different. Maybe Barkley would try to go out and get that ring, not in his later years, but earlier in his career, which for the most part, I don't want to say every single, but for the most part, every great player tried to do that when they look around and their first step is not as quick, they're not as good as they once were, try to get a championship. They tried to go on a team that was going to give them a better opportunity at winning a championship. You have guys like Shaq. I love Shaq, but Shaq can be sensitive at times. But Shaq is Shaq. I love Shaq. Talking about he wouldn't have done it. He wouldn't have did this and did that. He left the Lakers to go play with a young superstar in Dwayne Wade. And I don't know how it went because I can't really remember. But Shaq played for the Suns, who were pretty much the best team in the West, if not the Spurs at the time. He went and played with the Cavs, who had pretty much at the time the best player in the league, if not the best player in the East, in LeBron James. Then he went to play with Boston, who was pretty much the best team in the East, if not the second best team in the East, to give himself a chance at winning a championship. So I don't understand the thought process, behind Shaq and some of the other players that actually did go and try to get those rings and try to get those championships. The only difference is these players are recognized. These players these days, LeBron James and Garnett and those guys, they're a little bit older, and Kevin Durant, he's a little bit younger. But players are recognizing at 26, 27, after I made 3 and 4 years of making millions, that I could probably take a little less, still make millions, go to a team where I have to share the ball, be part of a team. It's going to give me a better opportunity at winning. I'm not going to be the guy, or I may be the guy, whatever the case is. See if I can get a championship. And at the end, I'll be 29, 30, 31. I still have my legs. I can probably play another 6 years or whatever it is. It's just reverse. Guys are just doing it younger. Guys are not doing it older. Guys are not waiting when they can't. They're unable to do some of the things they were able to do in their prime to make a move in their career. I don't have an issue with it at all whatsoever. I understood what LeBron James did, a guy that spent 9 years in Cleveland, and he tried. Their team just didn't match up well against some teams in the East. The Magic's team, that was a really bad matchup. You can't really grow, their small guards to guard a 6'10", 6'11", Turkoglu and Rashard Lewis. The Celtics team, they were loaded. So I understood, especially with not being able to get the free agents he wanted to get the help around him that he wanted to get. So he went to Miami. He went to go play with some guys that he was cool with. And I understand that. And Kevin Durant, I understand that a guy that tried for 7 or 9 years, something like that, whatever he spent in OKC, trying to win. He got them to the finals when he was 23. He balled out, couldn't get it done. And, thinking about the OKC fans, they're lucky they even have a team because they really should not have that team. The fans up in Seattle got screwed. And Seattle's such a great sports city. But I understand a guy that tried and couldn't get it done. They were down 3-1. Now, for everyone, this probably should be a different video. That's actually going to be a different video, me talking about Kevin Durant and moving to Golden State. But that's just my thoughts on players and ring chasing. I don't have a problem with it. I totally understand it, I understand, there's only certain ways you can really better your team, from the draft, from free agency, through trades, things like that. And what I do understand is that when you have a weakness in your roster, your lineup, whatever it is, you try to address that, whether it's in the draft or in free agency or with a trade. Now, if you have the money to go and get the best player at that position you're weak in, why not get it? So I understand ring chasing. I totally understand it. The roles were reversed. That's all. You know, the guys who are legends that didn't get it done, they did not have history to teach them. You know, um, and you know, to not wait after your prime or at the close to, you know, your done days, you know, to go and try to get on a team, and you know, not worrying about being the guy or trying to be the guy and actually just be one of the guys. So guys, get in the comment section. A lot of guys right there. Guys, get in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. I don't have a problem with it. Let me know. Get in the comment section, guys. Till the next video, Mo.